Ethan Bennett, a young billionaire and the head of one of the world's most exclusive hotel chains. With wealth and success at his fingertips, he seemed to have it all, except for the peace he longed for after grueling days. One evening, after wrapping up a crucial meeting, Ethan returned to his private penthouse within his hotel, anticipating a quiet, relaxing night. But as he stepped into his bathroom, he stopped in his tracks. A young woman was sound asleep on his toilet seat. Instead of anger, curiosity sparked within him. Who was she? Why was she here? And most importantly, why did this absurd sight make him want to laugh instead of rage? Ethan had no idea this strange encounter would alter his life forever. Lily Parker, a housekeeping staff member at Bennett Grand Hotel, was utterly drained. Covering a night shift for her slacking co-worker, she had been running on empty for the past week. Her eyes burned, her body ached, and all she wanted was to finish her final task, cleaning the hotel owner's penthouse. The sheer luxury of the room left her speechless. Crystal chandeliers sparkled against floor-to-ceiling windows. Every surface gleamed, and the bathroom was so spacious it could fit her entire apartment. "This isn't a hotel, it's a palace," Lily muttered as she started scrubbing. But as she leaned over to clean the bathtub, a wave of exhaustion hit her. "Just 5 seconds," she thought, resting her head on her arm. And just like that, she fell asleep, right on the toilet seat. The moment Ethan walked into the bathroom, he nearly gasped. "What the—" Lily jolted awake, panicked, and tumbled onto the floor, knocking over a cleaning cart. Standing before her was a tall man, his shirt unbuttoned, his expression a mix of shock and irritation. "Who are you? And why are you sleeping in my bathroom?" Lily stammered, desperately trying to explain, but every word only made things worse. Meanwhile, Ethan wasn't sure whether to be furious or just laugh at the absurdity of it all. Lily sat on the floor, heart racing, staring up at Ethan in panic. "I didn't steal anything. She swallowed hard. "I just fell asleep." Ethan crossed his arms, frowning. "Fell asleep in my bathroom?" Lily quickly explained her exhausting work schedule, expecting anger, expected him to fire her on the spot. But instead of rage, Ethan suddenly paused, sniffing the air. He turned, grabbed a coffee cup on the counter, and held it out to her. "Do you drink coffee?" Lily frowned. "Yes, but this one smells." She stopped, took a whiff, and cringed. Burnt. The beans were over-roasted, making it overly bitter. Someone tried to fix it with sugar, but that only made it worse. Ethan blinked. "You figured all that out just from the smell?" Lily nodded, slightly confused. "Doesn't everyone?" Ethan chuckled, but instead of mocking her, his eyes gleamed with intrigue. "No, they don't." He set the cup down and studied her like he had just discovered a hidden gem. "Follow me." Confused, Lily stood up and followed Ethan down to the hotel's main kitchen. Inside, a team of chefs was busy preparing breakfast. Rafael Torres, the hotel's renowned head chef, scowled when he saw Lily. "What's you doing here?" Rafael asked, his tone laced with annoyance. Ethan gestured toward Lily. "She can tell what's wrong with food just by smelling it. Let her taste today's breakfast." Lily's eyes widened. "Wait, I'm just a housekeeper." "Not anymore," Ethan said smoothly. "Today you're a food critic." Rafael smirked, arms crossed. "All right then, kid, go ahead." Lily picked up a fork, took a deep breath, and bit into the scrambled eggs. Immediately, she grimaced. "Too dry. You use low-quality butter, and the salt is off." Rafael raised an eyebrow. "Oh, yeah." Lily grabbed a piece of bread and frowned. "This isn't fresh. Either it was baked yesterday or stored improperly." She sipped the orange juice and nearly choked. "Oh my God! Who mixed fresh juice with store-bought and thought it was a good idea?" Ethan burst into laughter. Rafael, though reluctant, had to admit she was right. Seems like the girl actually knows what she's talking about. Ethan turned to Lily, a victorious smile on his lips. "I knew it." And that was the moment Lily Parker, a mere housekeeper, suddenly became the most important person in the hotel kitchen. Lily still couldn't believe what was happening. Just a week ago, she was a struggling housekeeper drowning in bills. Now she was sitting in the first-class cabin of a private jet, flying to Paris with Ethan Bennett, the arrogant billionaire who had somehow turned her life upside down. "I still don't understand why I'm here," Lily muttered, staring out the window as clouds drifted by. Ethan, sipping a glass of wine, simply shrugged. "You have talent, Parker, and if I want to learn more about it, I'll take you to the best place. Paris, the culinary capital of the world." Lily swallowed hard. She might have impressed a few people at the hotel, but Paris was a whole different level. At the extravagant food event, Lily quickly realized she was out of place. The room was filled with renowned chefs, powerful business moguls, and influential critics. The looks she received ranged from curiosity to open disdain, and no one made their opinion clearer than Sophia Moreau, a strikingly beautiful and powerful businesswoman who had once been close to Ethan. "Ethan, you never cease to surprise me," Sophia smiled, her gaze sweeping over Lily with thinly veiled judgment. "I didn't think you enjoyed traveling with this kind of company." Lily clenched her fists. Ethan's expression remained unreadable. "Lily isn't just a guest. She's the only person I trust when it comes to evaluating quality." Sophia arched an eyebrow, intrigued yet doubtful. She picked up a wine glass and handed it to Lily. "If you're as talented as he says, why don't you prove it?" Sophia challenged, her smile smug. "Can you guess what kind of wine this is?" Lily took a deep breath, lifted the glass, and inhaled. The aroma was rich, bold, with hints of oak and subtle fruity notes. She took a sip, letting the flavors settle on her tongue, analyzing each layer. Setting the glass down, she spoke confidently. This was aged in oak barrels with a light fruitiness. Definitely a young Bordeaux, around 3 years old. Silence. Sophia blinked, and a nearby sommelier nodded in confirmation. "She's correct." Ethan smirked. "She always is." Lily met Sophia's gaze and saw the flicker of irritation in her eyes. But for the first time, it didn't matter. She had just proven she wasn't some clueless outsider. Lily thought things would get easier with her talent. She was wrong. The next morning, as she stepped into the hotel lobby, she felt dozens of eyes on her. Some people whispered, others smirked. A chill ran down her spine. Her phone buzzed, a message from Mia, her friend back at the hotel. "Lily, have you seen the news?" Frowning, Lily opened her browser, and the moment she saw the headline, her stomach dropped. Billionaire Ethan Bennett involved with hotel staff, suspicious relationship uncovered. The article was accompanied by a photo of her and Ethan at last night's event, alongside countless speculations that she wasn't being valued for her skills, but for something far more scandalous. Lily felt frozen in place. Before she could even think about what to do, Ethan appeared. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes burned with quiet fury. "Come with me," he said, his voice low, yet commanding. Lily barely had time to react before he led her into a private conference room where a team of PR specialists and executives were waiting. "We're shutting this rumor down immediately," Ethan declared, taking a seat, his sharp gaze fixed on an article displayed on a large screen. Lily hesitated. "What are you going to do?" He crossed his arms. "I'm holding a press conference. They want a scandal? Fine, but I don't need them to believe me. I just need them to know the truth." A few hours later, inside the hotel's grand conference hall, the press was already gathered, cameras flashing as Ethan stepped onto the stage. "I'm sure you've all seen the headlines," he began, his voice calm but authoritative. "So let me set the record straight. Lily Parker is not here because of any relationship with me. She's here because she's talented. And if any of you doubt that, feel free to test it yourselves." Lily stared at him, her heart pounding. He wasn't just offending her. He was placing his full confidence in her abilities. Rumors spread fast. But this time, the truth was even stronger. The press conference ended, but long after the cameras stopped flashing, Lily couldn't shake the unease creeping into her heart. That evening, she stood on the balcony of her hotel room, staring at the glittering Paris skyline. A familiar voice broke her thoughts. "What's on your mind, Carter?" She turned to see Ethan leaning against the doorway, a glass of wine in hand. Lily took a deep breath, wrestling with her emotions. "I'm just wondering, why are you doing all of this for me?" Ethan studied her for a moment before stepping closer. "Because you deserve it." Her heart skipped a beat. Not because you feel responsible for me. A small smirk played on his lips as he set his glass down and met her gaze. If it was just responsibility, I wouldn't care this much. The silence between them grew heavier, not awkward, but charged. "Lily," Ethan murmured, his voice lower, more certain. "You're the only person who's ever made me break all my own rules." Lily inhaled sharply, her breath catching. She had spent her whole life running from things that could hurt her. But this time, she didn't want to run. Before she could overthink, she stepped forward, grasping the fabric of his shirt, pulling him down closer. And for the first time they kissed. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't hesitant. It was the answer to every unspoken question between them. After their first kiss, everything between Lily and Ethan shifted. The sharp remarks, the unspoken distance between a billionaire and a housekeeper, none of it mattered anymore. Now they were just two people learning how to care for each other. The next morning, Ethan pulled Lily out of the hotel, determined to show her the true magic of Paris. "You know," Lily said, laughing as she peeked into a pastry shop, "I've never had a real macaron before." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You've been in Paris for nearly a week and haven't tried one? That's criminal." 5 minutes later, they were sitting by the Seine, a box of colorful macarons between them. Lily took a bite, her eyes widening. "Oh my God, is this what heaven tastes like?" Ethan chuckled, resting his chin on his hand as he watched her. "You're easier to impress than I expected." The morning passed with laughter, light touches, and lingering glances that said more than words ever could. Ethan was no longer the untouchable billionaire, and Lily no longer felt like an outsider. As the sun set, they strolled along the Champs-Élysées. Lily casually looped her arm through Ethan's as if she had done it 100 times before. "Do you regret coming to Paris?" Ethan asked. Lily leaned against his shoulder, smiling. "No, and I think I've never been this happy." Ethan squeezed her hand gently. He knew then. He had never met anyone like Lily before, and for the first time in his life, he didn't care about any rules, only her. Paris had changed everything, but real life awaited them in New York, where the true test of their relationship would begin. Lily was no longer an anonymous housekeeper. Now she was Bennett Grand Hotel's lead food consultant, attending high-profile events and working alongside Ethan to elevate the hotel's culinary excellence. But more than anything, the distance between them had vanished. 3 months later, on a crisp autumn evening, Ethan told her to keep the day free, but refused to say why. They wandered through the glowing city streets, visited a cafe where Lily had once dreamed of tasting an overpriced pastry, and finally, as night fell, Ethan led her on to a helicopter. "Where you up to?" Lily laughed, her heart pounding as they soared above the glittering skyline. Ethan smirked. "Wait and see." As the helicopter hovered over secluded Riverside Park, Lily's breath caught in her throat. The area below, once dark and empty, suddenly lit up, but not with traditional lights. Hundreds of drones began to rise from the ground, forming dazzling golden patterns against the sky. One by one, they moved in perfect synchrony, aligning into glowing letters. Lily's eyes widened in shock as the light shifted into 3 simple, yet life-changing words. "Marry me?" Her breath hitched. She barely had time to process before Ethan gently tugged her hand, making her turn toward him, and then she saw it. Ethan was no longer sitting. He was kneeling, right there, inside the helicopter, his steady hands holding a velvet box, a breathtaking ring glistening inside. "Lily Parker," his voice, usually firm and commanding, now carried a rare tenderness. "From the moment you crashed, quite literally, into my life, nothing has been the same. You challenge me, frustrate me, and somehow make everything make sense." Lily let out a shaky laugh, her vision blurring with unshed tears. Ethan opened the velvet box, revealing a ring that shimmered like the stars above them. "I don't just want you in my life. I need you. You are the only rule I am willing to take, the only risk I am willing to take. So, Lily, will you make this chaos permanent and marry me?" Tears finally spilled over as Lily covered her mouth, nodding frantically before whispering, "Yes, 1,000,000 times yes." As Ethan slid the ring onto her trembling finger, a final wave of drones ascended into the sky, forming a heart shape before dissolving into a synchronized fireworks display. The night exploded in color, a grand celebration high above New York City. 2 weeks after the wedding, Lily stood in the bathroom, eyes locked on the pregnancy test in her hands. 2 lines. Her breath hitched, her heart pounded against her ribs. Someone who had spent her life just trying to survive, was about to become a mother. The door creaked open, and Ethan stepped inside, sleeves rolled up, looking relaxed. But the second he saw Lily's expression, his entire body tensed. "Lily," he gently touched her shoulders. "What's wrong?" Lily turned to face him, hands trembling as she held up the test. Wordlessly, she held it up. Ethan took it, his eyes scanning over the small device, his mind taking a moment to catch up. Blink once, twice. His breath came out in a shaky exhale. "We're having a baby?" Lily couldn't speak. She just nodded as a single tear slipped down her cheek. For a long second, Ethan didn't move. Then, as if reality crashed into him all at once, he let out a disbelieving laugh, one hand running through his hair. Then, without warning, he scooped Lily up into his arms, spinning her around, his laughter mixing with hers. "Lily," he whispered, his forehead resting against hers. "You didn't just change my life. You gave it meaning." She smiled through her tears, pressing her hands to his cheeks. "Looks like you're stuck with me forever, Bennett." And for the first time in her life, she knew she had finally found where she truly belonged.